that's a little bit fast, so I think we're right on time. Okay. It's Friday, October 9th. This is Yoga Flow. I'm getting set up so if you can hear and it sounds pretty good, if you could let me know, that would be great. You still okay? So let me know if you have any trouble hearing, if there's anybody out there. So let me just crawl one more time to look because I can't see from that far away and see if anybody's there. So anybody to check in for me would be great. And if not, we'll just keep on going and hoping that the sound is working. So sit, however's comfortable. Those of you at home, get a strap. So we are going to use a strap later on. So if you could get a strap and have it handy, actually have it handy now, like early. So you can reach over and get it really easily. And start to get comfortable for your hips, however you want to sit. If you want to sit up on a blanket, do. If you want to sit in a chair, do that. And close your eyes. Let your shoulders release down away from your ears. See if you can get that sense of breathing in and out through your nose. And imagine you're breathing equally in and out through each side of your nose. And bringing the breath into the belly, feeling the belly expand as you inhale. And then just start to move a little bit forward and back with your breath, keeping your back nice and long, letting your exhalations bring you forward, and your inhalations bring you back up. So being really mindful of the breath, feeling as though it is the breath that is moving you forward and back. And then the next time that you come back to sit upright, let yourself stay there. And we'll release our arms on out beside us here now. Inhaling here, and on the exhale, twisting to your right. So bringing your right hand behind you. Left hand can either go to the midline or across to that right knee. Just wake up the spine a little bit here with the twist. Feel the twist in the middle of the back, and let your gaze go where is comfortable for your neck. You may not want to look behind you. You may want to look beside yourself. Inhaling here. And on the exhale, we'll come on back around through center, and we're going to go in the other direction, letting ourselves again find that sense of lifting up through the top of your head so there's a lot of space in your spine, that twist in the middle of your back. Drawing your right sitting bone down. One more inhale. And let your exhale draw you on back around into center. If you're cross-legged on the floor, let's switch the cross of our legs so we even the hips out a little bit. And then let's get those straps. And here in the studio, if you have the straps that are here, it's the long 8-foot straps. So see if you can fold them in half. And, if you have a different strap and yours is shorter, you may not want to do that because we're going to come up. So if you have the longer strap like this where you go towards the ends of the strap, kind of see how it feels when you rise your arms overhead, hug your elbows towards each other. Feel your shoulders just waking up gently there. And then when you exhale, let the strap come on down in front of you, letting yourself just move through here. And then when you inhale, rise the strap on back out and up. Now, keep feeling like you're gently trying to lengthen your strap as you do these. Exhaling as the strap comes down, and inhaling as the strap rises back up. Elbows hug inward. And then this next time that you come down with your strap here in front of you, maybe you decide you don't have to, but if you feel like bringing your hands closer together on the strap, do, and we'll do the same thing. So we'll inhale and rise the strap up overhead. And on the exhale, come back down. And you only go as far as your shoulders feel like going. So if you don't feel like going all the way overhead with the strap, don't. Inhaling up as high as feels good for you. And exhaling, lowering back down. And this time, let's inhale, rise up, and let the strap stay overhead. You're kind of in a V, a little bit here probably. And then start to twist towards your left a little bit. Just a little, lengthening up. It's not a big twist at all. It's more like you're just kind of coming towards that thigh, that left thigh. And then we'll come back into center. And as you exhale, come off in the other direction in that twist. Letting yourself lift up through the top of the head. And then we'll come on back up to the top here. And see if you can send the strap back a little bit. If that hurts your shoulders, don't do it. So the arms come back behind you a little. Opening up through the chest there. And then we'll slowly start to bring the strap all the way back down in front of you very easily. And then go ahead and put the strap on off to the side. We're done with it for now. We'll need it later. Bring your hands behind you. Either drape them over the back of the chair or bring your hands to the floor, either fingertips or you can go flat to your hands. And open your chest here. And really just enjoy feeling that openness across the chest. Bring your gaze to where it's comfortable. For your neck, if you like to look up, it feels very good to stretch your throat out that way, do. And then we'll rise to come on back up, and we're going to come forward here into a little seated forward bend. So you can go as far as you want. You can go a little bit, or you can walk yourself further out if you choose. Keeping that long spine. If at the end, if you go pretty far and you feel like, oh, I just want to let my head hang, do it. And go where you feel like a nice release for yourself. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly walk ourselves on back up. Bringing our hands out beside us, lightly touching the floor with the fingertips. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down through the midline to rest in front of our hearts. A couple of breaths, seated mountain here. Enjoy feeling that length upward through the top of your head. And then we'll unfold our arms on down. Shake out a little bit. We're going to come around towards our hands and knees. So you know if you don't want to be on your knees, don't be. You can take your time to let yourself get a blanket underneath your knees. If it feels better to you even to have your hands up on the seat of a chair, do that. And then start to just roll through your back here. Feeling your exhales draw you up into cat pose. And your inhales bring you back through into your cow. So still moving with the breath. Feeling that tailbone initiate each time, whether you're drawing up into your cat or sending your tailbone back and up into cow pose. Good. Finish the one you're on. Come to a more neutral spine. And let's bring our left forearm down onto the mat, parallel to the front edge. Stretch your right arm out overhead a little bit and lower your forehead down towards your arm. Sink the hips back a little bit if you can. And let yourself breathe in this quarter dog. Feel the heart melting down a little bit. Open up there between the shoulder blades. And then bring your right hand back, press your way up, and we're going to go to the other side. So right forearm about parallel to the short edge of your mat, reaching that left arm over, out and overhead, and Coming on down, head towards your arm, pressing gently into your left hand, into your right forearm. And then we'll come on back. Let's come on back to all fours and send our right foot behind us on the floor. Just come into a little bit of opening for the calf there. Engage the belly. Let yourself really press equally into your hands here. And then we're going to switch and go to the left side. So letting yourself come here into opening up through the back of the leg. And then we'll come on back down again. And from here, let's step our left foot forward and find our first lunge. So you know whatever height you want to be with your blocks, or your hands can be on the floor or they can be on the chair. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Let yourself reach back through that inner heel. Good, and let's switch legs. However you want to do that. Coming to the other side. Good, and let's come back to that left leg forward and take your time here now. See if you can just separate your feet a little bit wider and bring yourself up a little bit. If you can, bring your hands up to your thigh, right? Or you can bring them up to a chair if that's better for you. You can bring yourself all the way up if you choose, bringing your hands to your heart into a really high lunge. But you use whatever support you need. Stay forward if you need, hands towards your thighs. And then we're going to come on back down, and we're going to switch and go to the other side. So again, if you separate your feet a little wider, sometimes it makes it more doable. You can say hands on your thigh. You can rise up if you choose higher. You can let your hands come to your heart or not. That's up to you. You can stay forward, remember. And then we'll release to come on back down with the hands. Let's step forward and come on into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. Release here now. Go ahead and walk a little bit. Bend a knee at a time. Let yourself easily shift a little bit from side to side. And then get even in your legs, whether your knees are bent or straight, and with your hands either on blocks or the chair or the floor, let the torso just swing a little bit from one side to the other. But the hands stay right in the middle there, right? So you're just letting your shoulders, your torso go one way and the other. Good. And then come on back into your Uttanasana, letting your head hang. Release your hands to wherever feels good for you. It doesn't matter where. Behind your legs, in front of your legs, up on your back, at the back of your head, to your elbows. Full deep breaths. And then we're going to bend our knees, press into our feet equally, and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. Exhale, bringing our hands down together in front of our heart. Spread your fingers wide. Lift your elbows up for a second. Feel the hands come more firmly together. Feel your wrists here. And then clasp your hands and start to send your palms straight out from your chest. And let yourself drop your shoulders down. Try not to tense your shoulders up. Feel really easy there. And then we'll start to rise the arms up. So as they come up, you decide how far your shoulders are going to go. If you can come with hands directly over your head, do. If that feels bad for your shoulders, keep the arms more forward. And then just lean over to the left a little bit. Press up into the heel of the right hand there. Feel the right foot on the floor. Really press down into that right foot. Bend both your knees a tiny little bit. And then come on back up to the top. And we're going to go the other way. So over to the right, pressing into the heel of that hand. Bend your knees a tiny little bit. Really feel the left foot in the floor. And then we'll come on back up to the top again. Let's bend our elbows, bring our hands to the back of our head. Press the head just gently back into your hands. Let your chin stay parallel to the floor, though. Feel the belly engaging. Really enjoy feeling that sense of stacking yourself up. And then we're going to unfold our arms on down beside us here now. And let's inhale the arms forward and up overhead. And as we exhale, we'll bend the knees and come forward into standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you find that long back. Actually, bring your hands to your shins. Let your pointer fingers face straight down to the middle of your ankles and wrap your fingers around the outside of your legs and the thumbs around the insides of your legs. Find that long back. It doesn't matter whether your legs are straight or bent, lengthen through the spine. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into downward facing dog pose. Good. Walk a little bit in your dog. Take your time. If you need to pick a foot up and kind of shake it out a little bit, do. Or walk to the tops of the feet. If you want to stretch your toes out a little bit there, stretch out the top of your feet. But take your time. And then come on back to your full dog. Elbows hug in. Think about your ears being kind of between your upper arms. And let your next inhale carry you out to your plank. Lift your right foot up just a little bit off the floor. And then lower it down. And then lift your left foot just a little off the floor. And then lower it down. And let's all bring our knees down to the mat. Bend your knees, flex your feet. Be on the flesh above your knees. Imagine you're trying to draw yourself towards the front of your mat. As you lower down slowly, elbows by the ribs. And let's come on into a Sphinx pose. Elbows right underneath the shoulders. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Enjoy there, being on your forearms there, opening up through the front body. And then we'll come on back. We're going to make our way back into down dog. Now you can go through a half push-up to get back up or a full push-up. Or you can go to your hands and knees and back to your down dog. Elbows hug inward. Spread those fingers nice and wide. We'll bring the right foot forward to come into lunge. And then we'll come all the way back into our standing forward bend. Full deep breaths. Go right to your breaths. See if you can let the breaths even out. Not forcing it, but just imagine the inhales and exhales coming closer to being the same length. And then we'll release our hands back to our hips, bend our knees, rising on up, inhaling the arms out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bring your hands down together in front of your heart. Let's unfold our arms. Bring your hands behind you. Clasp your fingers together back there. And then send your hands over to the right. Like let the lower left arm come onto your low back. Your forearm is on your low back. And see if you can squeeze your palms towards each other here now. If it hurts, don't do it. Feel that action, though, up into your biceps, into your shoulders. And then come on back down with the hands to center, and we're going to bend the right elbow and then put the right forearm there on the low back. Squeeze the left palm into the right. Really feel your fingers. Feel that action up into the shoulders. Good. And then we'll release and bring the hands on down. Take a nice inhale here. And then as we exhale, we're going to fold forward. Now, you can stay up parallel to the floor. You can fold over your legs if you choose to. Keep a long back if you need. If you're okay to release your arms away from your back, you can do that. Nice full breaths. And then we'll release our arms back on down. Let your inhale lengthen out your spine. And we'll step the left foot back to come into lunge. And inhale, exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Good. Let's come out to plank and let's play just a little bit with side planks. Now this is up to you how you do them. You know, if you're on the floor, you want to put your left knee down, you can. You can turn to the inside of that right foot and rise your right arm up. You can adjust it however you want. You can do a full side plank if you choose. Take your time. If you've got the knee down, you can even float that top foot up, or even if you're in a full plank, you can float your top foot up. And then we'll come on back down, back to your normal plank. Take your time. Walk a little bit in your plank. Just bend the knee a little bit at a time, but keep solid in the pelvis there. And then come back to full plank. This time we'll go the right side. So right knee can come down. You can shift your weight so that you have a little more support there. You can rise the left arm up, or you don't have to. You can keep the hand down and the foot down. And again, you can have full plank going on here if you want, full side plank. And then we'll come on back down. Let's find our plank pose again. Good. And then let's lower down. So you can, again, do your knees first if you need. Elbows right by the ribs. And we'll come into a little cobra, just a little. So don't even use your hands. Let your hands just rest really gently on the floor. Elbows hugging in towards the ribs. See if you can let yourself enjoy being there. Now, if you're perfectly comfortable to press into your hands and rise up higher, that's fine. Elbows are hugging in towards the ribs, shoulders down away from the ears, but you can stay low and get just as much out of a cobra pose. And then we'll release and come back down, and we're going to make our way back into our downward facing dog pose. And we'll bring the left foot forward from here to come into lunge, and then we'll step all the way back into standing forward bend. Right to the breath. Feeling the breaths now. Coming in to expand the ribs. Imagine the top of the head releasing closer to the ground when you exhale. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips and bend our knees and rise up to standing. Inhaling our arms out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bringing our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale our hands. Keep them together up through the midline. Once they get to the top, bend your elbows. Let your hands come right to the back of the top of your head. Your elbows are kind of hugging in a little bit, but then let your elbows reach up. Now, as you do that, make sure you don't curl your tailbone forward. Feel your tailbone reaching down between your heels. Let yourself just open up here again through the front body. One more breath. And then we're going to reach those arms on back up overhead. And as we exhale, we're going to fold forward into standing forward bend. Move with the breath. Inhale into a nice long back. Exhale, right foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Let your inhale bring you to your plank. And let your exhale lower you down. And inhaling into your cobra of choice. Exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into standing forward bend. Bend the knees rising up, arms flowing to the top. And on the exhale, we'll fold forward again. Let your inhale help you lengthen your spine. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Let your inhale bring you to plank. Exhale will lower you down. And inhale into your cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising up, arms all the way to the top. And on the exhale, we'll come forward again. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. We're going to walk into down dog. So wherever you want to put your hands, take your time. Once you get kind of situated in dog, bend your knees a little bit, both of them. Hug your elbows towards each other. Imagine you're reaching equally back through your sit bones. Find that length through both sides of the body. Good. We're going to bring our left foot forward from here. We're coming up for Warrior 2. You might want both your blocks handy there. So get your heels lined up. Just be really mindful and take your time. Look at your left knee here and see if you can straighten and bend that knee a few times so that it gets really easy to have that knee lined up with the center of your foot. So straightening and bending, letting yourself really get easy in that alignment of that front knee. And then go ahead and come into your full warrior, bending the knee where you're comfortable to be. Let's bring our hands to our heart. Spread your fingers wide. Let yourself feel your connection there through your hands. And let's inhale the hands up through the midline of the body, open the arms out and start to turn the palms down as we release into Warrior Two arms. Reaching back through the right fingertips, forward through the left. Just imagine for a second, just picture yourself in a great big circle. You have a huge circle around you, right? And all your extremities are reaching towards that edge of the circle. So you feel very balanced here. One more breath. And then we'll turn that left palm up. Inhale, reach up towards the sky. Nice full breath into the left side. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle. So your left hand or forearm onto your thigh, bringing that right arm up into line if you can. You can keep the hand down on your hip. So if you have your arm straight, for a second, bend it. Put your hand behind your head. And see if you can just turn a little bit to look up at the ceiling while you're supported there with your hand. One more breath. We're going to come on back to Warrior Two, pressing those feet away from each other. And now hands to the hips. We're going to turn our feet more parallel, and we're going to come on forward into a wide-legged forward bend. Grab your blocks if you'd like, right? So take your time. Once you get there, go ahead and bend a knee at a time. Be really mindful. Let yourself just ease your way side to side. And then get centered. So get where you feel your feet are just right. We're going to add a little twist here. Lengthen the spine out. Have your hands in front of you so your back is nice and long, like a tabletop. And then we'll bring our right hand to our right hip and roll that right shoulder up. Coming into twist here at the middle of the back. Lengthening out through the top of your head. And then we'll lower that right hand down. Good. And change to the other side. So as you bring the left hand up, you're staying nice and level there at your hips. You're not letting yourself drop into that right side, but you feel very flat there at your sacrum. One more breath. Good. And then we'll come on back down with the hand. And now let yourself go wherever feels really good to you today. You know, you may be really wanting to bring your hands between your feet. You may want to be putting your elbows above your knees. You may want to be putting blocks up to put your forearms on them. So be mindful. Take your time. Feel the weight of your head. Maybe even let your head move around a little bit. And then release into those full deep breaths again. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to walk our hands on back out. We're going to walk back to our left foot to come on back into lunge. And from here, we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Once you're in dog, walk a little bit to the tops of the feet. Press into the tops of the toes. Good. And then come on back to dog. And let's come out to plank. But as you do, bring your right knee in towards your chest. You think about just bringing your thigh in towards your chest. And then come back to down dog. We're going to do the other side. So left knee comes in, left thigh comes in. And then we'll come on back again to down dog. Let's lift our right leg up in the air this time. And then do that same thing. Come out to plank. Bring the thigh in towards the chest. Go back to that three-legged dog. And then lower that right foot down. And now we'll do left leg up in the air, three-legged dog. Bring yourself into that plank with the knee coming forward. And then go back into the three legs. And then bring the foot on down. Let's come on out to plank. And let's lower down, knees first if you need. Come into your little cobra or bigger if you choose. And then we're going to make our way towards child's pose. Shifting our hips back. You don't have to go all the way into child's pose. You shift back where you can release your hips and your low back. Full breaths. And then come on forward to all fours. Curl your toes under. We'll come on back into down dog. Good. And we're going to bring the right foot forward and come into warrior two on the other side. So take your time, coming on into lining up those heels. Get a line here with your feet. And then remember that bending and straightening and just letting yourself enjoy. And you can look, and make sure you're lined up. Sometimes that knee wants to twitch inward a little too much. So see if you can get the knee really lined up as you bend and straighten. And then come into that bent knee. Bring your hands to your heart. Feel that sense of shoulders over hips. We'll inhale the hands right up through the midline. And then open the arms and come on into our Warrior Two arms. Softening the tops of the shoulders. Again, if you can envision like you're in this great big circle. Everything's reaching towards the circle. Your head, your hands, your feet. You feel very balanced. We're going to turn our right palm up and inhale, reach up towards the sky. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle. So hand or forearm onto your thigh, allowing that left arm to come up if your shoulder lets you. Pressing down into that hand or forearm. And again, if your shoulder lets you, put your left hand behind your head and then maybe turn to look up towards the ceiling, and you're really just supporting your head with your hand. So it should feel very easy. And we're going to come on back into Warrior Two, pressing those feet away from each other. And we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to turn our feet more parallel, and we're going to come on forward. Again, into this wide-legged forward bend. Once you get there, bend a knee at a time. Remember, you're endeavoring to get your feet pretty parallel, right? But some people need to turn their toes out a little bit or turn their toes in a little bit, right? We're all built differently. So be mindful. Come on back into center and let's walk ourselves over towards our right foot. Doesn't matter whether you shift your block and stay out in front of your foot or bring yourself all the way to hold on to the outside of your ankle or your foot. Bring your right hand on up. See if you can roll that shoulder up a little bit. And then we'll bring that hand back down. We're going to walk back through center. And again, you can shift your block a little to the left. You can walk more over towards the outside of the foot. And bring your left hand up when you're ready. You can roll the shoulder up or not. And then we'll come on down with the hand. We're going to walk on back. Walk your hands out like you're doing down dog, but let your hands be wider than you are in your normal downward facing dog. And then let your heart melt down and back a little bit. Feel that upper back releasing here. Chest releases down. And then we'll walk our hands on back. We're going to walk back to the right foot to come on back into lunge. And we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. You're on your own from here, so move how you need to. Take your time. You want to come out for a plank, do. If you feel like putting your knees down, just be mindful. Let yourself enjoy. Sorry, my mat is slippery. I can't deal. I'm getting my old mat back. I had to go get it. So, take your time. Let's meet back in down dog. And from here, we're going to bring our left foot forward. We're coming up for Warrior One. Oh, so much better when a mat's not slippery, isn't it? So bringing your shoulders around square. Get yourself situated here. Let this left knee be bent just where you're very comfortable to be. No farther forward than your ankle. And let's bring our hands to our heart here. Let yourself bring your gaze forward. Good. And then inhale the hands up higher than the head. And then just bring the hands on around behind your head. And again, we're going to push the back of the head gently into our hands. Let yourself release there. Now, it is up to you. You can stay right here. It's fine. It's perfect pose. Feels so good to open through the front of the right hip. Arches are lifting up. If you want to go ahead and let the head come back a little more and the hands support you, you can come up a little more forward with your chest. Enjoy, breathe. And then start to bring your gaze back forward again. Lower your arms on down. Interlace your fingers, clasp them behind you. Inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward over this inner thigh. Now, you can decide whether you want to keep your hands down or rise them up away from your back. Totally up to you. You be where you can. One more breath. And then lower yourself, hands down. Now, you might want to use your blocks. We're going to come into a lunge. And then we're going to lower our back knee down onto the floor if we can. Now, you can shift forward a little bit, really pressing into the top of that right foot. You can use support under your hands, the floor or a chair or the blocks, really opening up through the front of that hip. And then we're going to shift back with our hips and straighten that left leg out and extend the torso forward over that left leg. Now, you know, how deeply you bend in this supporting right knee, that is up to you. You don't have to, you can just keep it bent at 90 degrees, or you can shift your hips back more and come forward over the leg that way. It depends on how it feels on your own knee. Good. One more breath. And then shift back forward. We're going to curl the back toes under, lift the back knee up to lunge. And now add your twist of choice. Left hand can come to the left hip, rolling that shoulder up. You can stretch the arm up, or you can come across, you know that, with your right elbow to your left knee and bring your hands into prayer hands if you want to come into twisted prayer. And then we'll release to bring our hands on down. We'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Move how you need. If you want to do child's pose, do child's pose. If you want to do some three-legged dog poses, do that. Let's just be playful a little bit, right? So your body kind of tells you what it needs to do. Good. Let's meet back in down dog again. And from here, we'll bring the right foot forward. We're coming up for that warrior one, remember? So getting your feet in that stance, whether you like a little almost narrow railroad tracks feel, or maybe you like to line your heels up. Bend that front knee, get really comfortable and easy there, and bring your hands to your heart. Let your gaze come forward. Now, feel that back foot in the floor. Feel like you're rising that arch of that left foot up, so you feel really open here in the front of the left hip. And then we'll inhale the hands up, and we're going to bring the hands behind the head. And just rest here. Push the head gently into the hands without going back any further with your head. There's your core body. And then if you decide, oh, it feels so good to just really let my head come back into my hands, then you can just release there. Feel like that the sternum is being drawn towards where the wall meets the ceiling in front of you. Good. One more breath. And then come back upright. Unfold your arms on down beside you. Bring your hands behind you. Inhale. And on the exhale, we'll fold forward. Now, you can just bow your head. You can go ahead and fold all the way over that inner thigh. You can bring your arms off your back if you choose to. So that's up to you. And then we'll bring the arms on down, and we're going to find a lunge here. So you may want your blocks under your hands before you lower that back knee down. Once you come down with that left knee, how far you shift your hips forward is up to you. Pressing into the top of the toes, letting yourself open through the front of the left hip there. But be mindful. Don't do anything that makes it feel uncomfortable at all. Now remember, we're going to shift back. So again, you may want blocks under your hands as you come on back with the hips, straightening that right knee out and coming forward over that inner thigh, really. It's almost like the middle of your body is right in the inside of that right thigh. A strict forward bend here. Really enjoy feeling the back of that right leg. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to shift back forward. We're going to lift the back knee up again, find lunge, and adding your twist of choice, whether you decide to keep your left hand grounded, right hand to your right hip or low back, or stretch your right arm up, or come into twisted prayer, bringing that left elbow across to the right knee. And then we're going to release and come on back into lunge, and let's make our way back into downward facing dog pose. And just for fun, if you can, don't do this if you don't want. Come out to plank. See if you can move through to up dog without bending your elbows, and then come on back into down dog. So if you can inhale out to your plank and move all the way through to up dog, and then exhale back into down dog, you can do 3 or 4 more of those if you can, letting yourself feel the energy flowing through the body. Feels nice and strong, as well as nice and supple. That last 5 Tibetan rite of rejuvenation is this one, and then we'll finish off down dog. And let's come forward, whether you want to jump or walk your way. Bring your feet on up towards your hands. Come into your Uttanasana. If you're able to put your hands up on your back, do. If it's too much, don't do it. And just breathe. Nice full breaths. Good. So one more full deep breath here. And then let's bend our knees, bring our hands to our hips. We're going to rise up and inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down together in front of our hearts. Coming into mountain pose. Let it feel, doesn't it kind of feel like your body's sighing? Just let yourself adjust however you need. Enjoy feeling all the space now that you feel in the body. It's like you've just opened up a whole bunch everywhere. And then we'll go ahead and unfold our arms on down beside us, shake out just a little bit, move around. Let's bring our mats into a wall. So you guys have plenty of room. You might want to go back there. That way she's there. We're not so close together, but there's plenty of room. I'm just going to use the pole. We're going to get our straps. Now, you don't have to use your strap if you don't want to. So if you'd rather do, we're going to work on the hand to foot pose, right? Padangusthasana, right? So if you're like, well, I don't want to use a strap, I'd rather do this, right? You can. And you can come into the side here without using the strap and come into dancer's pose without the strap. But I'm going to use the strap, and if you decide to hold your foot, go right ahead. Left hand to the wall. Let's all do left hand to the wall so that we're using our right foot. So other left and right, other foot. There you go. Other left and other right. So bringing that foot up in front of you. Now, you know, this leg can be really low. And honestly speaking, if you have your heel a foot to a foot and a half off the floor, it's almost harder than if you get your hand closer to your foot and rise the leg up higher. Now, that's not to say I'm trying to make something harder or less hard. I'm just telling you that sometimes the poses that look harder are harder if you don't do them so high or so deeply, right? So just play with it. Try to bring your leg where you can. You can balance if you want with your arm overhead. You can use the wall to open to the side to the right with the leg, rotating the heel forward, making sure your hips are staying square. So you don't want to go so far you've turned sideways and torqued your left knee at all. And then bring the foot back to the front. We're going to put the foot down behind us now, strap over the shoulder. Now for a second, once you get there, you know, maybe the strap's on your top of your foot or maybe your ankle, either one. See if you can then lift the strap off your shoulder and have the strap be almost like over your head. You're holding with your right hand. And press into the strap a little bit with your foot. Now, you can decide from here, does it feel good to bring both hands onto that strap? Balancing there or not. You can even walk your hands towards your foot a little bit more. Elbows hug in. You can come forward a little bit with the torso. Make sure you're not locking that supporting knee. And then when you're ready, release on down. Shake out a little bit, walk around if you need to. And we'll try the other side. So again, you can do hold on to your toe if you'd rather. Big toe hold if you know it feels good to you to try the strap. Whatever height you end up getting this left foot up here now, it can stay low and you can do, like I said, it's almost harder than if you lift the foot up higher. Remember, you don't want to throw your shoulders back, right? I'm exaggerating, but keeping shoulders over the hips. Deciding if, I can lift that right arm up because I can really balance like this. And now you can use the wall to open to the side so that you don't fall over, rotating the heel forward, lifting up through the front of that right hip. So take your time. Good. And then bring the foot back to the front again long enough to go ahead and bend the knee, put the foot behind you, strap comes over your shoulder for a second. Release there for a breath. Now, if you can lift the strap so your hands over your head do. And that's just a little bit more for the quad, isn't it? And if you want to try to balance and hold both hands on that strap, you can. It's a bad balance day. I totally get it. We're right there with you. So take your time. Let yourself release. Nice. When you've had entirely enough, come on down. Put your strap on off. We are done with the strap. But walk back to the wall and let your feet walk out a little bit, like, 12 to 18 inches. And then bend your knees, and your feet are hips distance apart. Make sure your knees aren't hiking inward or outward, right? So you're even on your feet. In fact, lift your toes up and make sure you're not rolling. You can kind of feel those four corners of the feet there. And then bring your arms out. Do goddess arms. Bend your elbows 90 degrees. Feel the backs of the hands, the backs of the arms pressing into the wall. Now you can shift lower with the hips if you feel good to do that. So you feel in your quads, right? And you feel your shoulders. It's even really fun here to cross your right arm on top of your left. Either give a hug and feel how your shoulders do there, or come into your eagle wrap. So if you're in a half eagle or an eagle wrap, think of the elbows rising up just a little bit. If your quads are starting to talk to you too strongly, you can straighten your legs a little bit and take a break. We're going to open back into those goddess arms. Press back again into the wall there with the backs of your hands, the backs of your shoulders and arms. And then we'll bring the right arm on top of the left. And again, you can decide. Hugging feels really good too. Eagle or half eagle wrap, totally optional. Elbows rising up a little bit if you can, if you're in that half eagle or eagle wrap. Now really press your feet into the floor. Good. And then let's unfold our arms on down beside us. And let's come on forward. Let yourself release, if you can, hands or elbows to above your knees. Let it feel like a really good break for your hips and for your back. And go ahead and twist to your left. You can bring your right elbow towards your left knee, or you can stay the hand on the knee if you want, letting yourself come into twist. Now stay even in your knee bends. And then come on back into center and go the other way. Really press that left sit bone into the wall. Good. And then we'll come on back to center again. If you want to go ahead and fold with the legs longer, fold over your legs, do it. I mean, you can hold your ankles and let yourself hang. If that doesn't feel good for your back, stay long back. So stay with support. Good. And then from here, slowly let yourself make your way on up. And we're going to come on down to the floor with our feet back towards the wall behind us and come on into child's pose. So letting yourself come down so that you can just very easily release your feet, toes back towards the wall. Let your knees open as wide as you want, remember, in child's pose. And just let your breath come into your low back. Enjoy. Good. And then let's bring our arms overhead. We're going to come on up to all fours. So really set your hands up for a down dog here. Think about your pointer fingers about parallel to each other. Spread your fingers. Curl your toes under. We're going to lift up to down dog with our heels up the wall. You can bend your knees if you need. Hug your elbows in towards each other. If that's enough, stay there or put your knees down and rest whenever. Or if you want to put one foot up the wall, you can curl your toes under and let one foot rise on up the wall there. And then when you're ready to switch legs, if you're doing the 3 legs, you can switch and go to the other side. And then when you're ready to come down, come and rest for a couple of breaths. I know some of you might want to work a little bit more towards like handstand preparations or forearm stands. So if you do, by all means, practice where you want to practice. You can come to dolphin with your feet up the wall, so you're out of your wrist. You can walk up the wall if you want, letting yourself play with coming into a little bit more, having either shoulders over your hands or shoulders over your elbows. So if your wrists are bothering you, take care of them. Let yourself just play a little bit with being upside down, but not any longer than you want. And you know you can rest whenever, whether you rest in child's pose or if you feel better to rest with your head up above your heart, you can do that. So just be mindful and come up and down as you choose. And you know, when you're done, come on back into your child's pose for a couple of breaths or towards child's pose. You don't have to stay all the way into child's pose. You know that. And from here, we're going to come forward onto our bellies. So it's kind of easy if you're already towards child's pose. You can just slither your way on forward. Let yourself come on into Sphinx Pose there. So really just enjoy opening up through the front of the body there. And then, now from here, make sure you don't do anything that's really uncomfortable for half bow, right? So for some of us, bringing this front left forearm about parallel to the front edge, bending the right knee, coming down lower feels better to reach back, even if you can't get your foot and you keep your right hand down. If you get your foot, you can start with your head low and then proceed from there. Press the foot into the hand. Maybe it rises you up a little. Maybe you want to use that left arm more towards your waist to come up even higher. So it's up to you. Don't force yourself into any kind of a back bend here that's too much. You can even stay with your head all the way down. And then we're going to release and go to the other side. So again, you bend your left knee. You think about, head down a little bit. Get my foot, if I can. You can pull the heel in for a second just to feel how that feels on your quad. Once you start pushing the foot into your hand, that really makes you want to rise up a little bit, doesn't it? And then this support of this right arm, totally optional to come back more and go up higher. Good. And then we'll come on down. Bring your arms up overhead into a wide V, like you're reaching towards the corners of your mat. And on your next inhale, float everything you can up into a locust pose here. And then release. Let yourself rest. Take a breath now into your low back as you relax down onto the floor. And now you can come into that locust pose again, or some of you may want to reach back for a full bow pose, getting hold of both feet, pressing the feet into your hands and rising the feet up. So if you feel like doing a bow pose, do. Otherwise, locust pose. And then from here, let yourself release. We're going to roll onto our right side and draw our knees up forward of us so that you're releasing your back that way. So just take your time. Let yourself breathe. Relax the back and the hips. Good. And now let's keep on rolling all the way to our backs. So you got to adjust your way on your mat, of course. That's the one thing about these sticky mats. And get yourself centered out there. Bring your knees on into your chest. And it's up to you. If it feels good to pull yourself face in towards your knees and roll up into a little ball, do. If that doesn't feel good, don't do it. And then we'll lower our head on down. And let's keep our right knee into our chest. Extend our left leg down long on the floor. Now, start to flex both your feet. Press that right leg into your hands. Let your arms come straight so that the knee is drawing away from you. Your arms are straight now, but you're holding on below your knee there or behind your thigh. And just enjoy. Feel that natural curve in the low back. And then we're going to switch to bring the left knee in and extend that right leg down long on the floor. Again, flex through both feet. Feel the left leg coming into your hands and let the arms come straight. Feel the curves of the back there. Breathe. Good. And then let's bring both feet to the floor, crossing our right ankle above our left knee. And then drawing that left knee, if you can, drawing the left leg in towards you, clasping behind your thigh. Flexing through both the feet. Now, if you want a little more, you can draw with your hands. Draw that thigh in closer. Use your right elbow to encourage that right knee farther away from you. And that's only, of course, if you can pull the knee in. You can keep the left foot on the floor. It's fine. Now, if you can extend that left leg up long, do, which changes the feeling in the right hip, but it feels pretty good to open up the back of that left leg if you have the foot up. And then go ahead and bend the knee again. Bring the left foot back down to the floor now here, and we're going to switch. And cross that left ankle above the right knee. Again, if you can draw the right leg in and clasp behind your right thigh, do. And, you know, this all depends. If pulling the thigh towards you feels good, using your left elbow to keep the left knee away more, you can go a little deeper. And then when you get ready to try to extend that right leg up, just take your time. Let it feel good. Let it feel like this great release for the back of the leg. And then we'll bend the knee in again. Let's bring the right foot down to the floor. Uncross your legs now. Again, bring your knees in and stretch your both legs up towards the ceiling so that you're like you're putting a footprint on the ceiling. Circle your feet around a little bit up there. Kind of let your feet circle. You feel your ankles. You can flex and point your feet a little bit too. And then just open the legs on out wide here into a wide angle. Now you can let the weight of the legs allow you to open your inner thighs, or you can put your hands kind of on the outside of your legs, pressing into the outside of your thighs a little bit if you want a little bit of support. If it feels fine just to let the legs hang, then do. Releasing, flexing through the feet. One more breath here. And then bring the legs on back up in the air and bend the knees. Let's bring the right knee in and extend the left leg long on the floor. So right knee into the chest. Taking your left hand over to that right knee, stretch your right arm out beside you. We're going to draw the knee over to the left. Now, for your twist here, it's up to you. You can keep the knee bent. You can go a few inches. You can keep the right hip down really close to the floor. Or you can release. If you want, you can shift a little more to your left side and put your right foot into your left hand. So it doesn't mean the leg has to be long, straight. It can be, or it can be bent. But you can just let yourself come into releasing that right shoulder towards the ground. One more breath here. And then we'll come on back into center. Adjust yourself if you had shifted to your side a little bit. We're going to switch to bring the left knee in and stretch the right leg long. Right hand over to that left knee. And use that right hand to draw the knee over to the right. Now, as you come across the midline, it doesn't matter if you go 2 inches or you want to keep on continuing down over towards the floor. And again, if the idea of putting your left foot into your right hand, I mean, you can lower your hand to try to get the foot if that feels good. You can let yourself come into a longer leg. Keep the left shoulder releasing down towards the ground. Good. One more breath here. Excuse me. And then releasing to come on back into center. Bring your knees on back into your chest. Come into a little happy baby pose. And start to listen to your own body. You know, maybe there's something else you need to do right now. It could be anything. I mean, if you need to roll over and do a pigeon pose, do. If you need to come into a little bridge pose or even like feel really open enough in your shoulders to come into an upward facing bow pose, do. So take your time, in other words. Just get easy so that you won't feel, when you get ready for Shavasana, you won't feel like you didn't get all your wiggles out, right? So moving around a little bit or deciding that you've moved entirely enough and what you really want to do is be in Shavasana and you can't hardly wait. So I'm going to walk around here in the studio and bring any kind of support. I have an inkling. You're welcome. Remember, if when you lie back on your back, you feel like your chin is lifting up, which brings this kind of tightness and shortness to the back of your neck, let me bring you a little blanket. Remember, I wash everything in here. Everything that gets used in here gets disinfected and washed, so don't ever feel like you can't use something if you forgot to bring something or you don't have a prop you need. So, and at home, get easy wherever you are at home. Trying to let yourself find a little bit of quiet place. I know that's not quite as easy at home as it is here in the studio. But just start to feel yourself there on the floor, feeling the weight of the body there, feeling the weight of your arms and your legs. Accepting now the breaths as they come in and go out. And sometimes just focusing on those little spaces between the breaths helps you to quiet down a little more. Just feeling and relaxing in those little spaces, those little pauses between your breaths. But give yourself these few minutes, allowing the body and the brain to come into those quiet places so you can benefit from all you just did. Allow yourself to completely and fully relax. gradually now, gently start to bring yourself back, feeling the ground underneath you, supporting you again. And just allowing the breath to easily come in and go out more deeply, more fully. Feeling that sense of movement as you breathe in and out. And let those deeper breaths really bring you back into wanting to move again. Fingers and toes can lead you into moving your hands, your feet. If circling your feet or your hands around to get the wrists and ankles going again sounds good, or stretching your arms and legs, just let the body come back the way it needs to being physically moving again. And whether you want to roll on to either your right or your left side or stay on your back, that's up to you. If you can, let the ground cradle you a little bit longer, do. Give yourself time to adjust a little bit. And when you do feel like you're all right to rise up to sitting, see if you can let your head be the last thing that comes to be up on top there, getting yourself comfortable in the way you're sitting, and then just rising upward like you're growing up from your sitting bones and feeling all that space in your spine, top of the head gently rising upward. Eyes closing so that you can be with your breath a little bit longer, accepting those breaths in and out. And on your next exhale, letting your hands gently come together there in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Friday. Happy weekend.